speaking, I imagine is going to be extremely difficult on this live stream. I'm battling for my mind and my life. What I'm essentially experiencing is all those live streams where I was commenting about external influences controlling my mental health, manipulating the reality of truth in my life, which is that of terror, and telling me I'm on summer holiday constantly. Uncle and my family on the beach, and we're going to have a barbecue later, or a takeaway. An unpleasant truth is that I am in terror. In that place of terror, as severe as mine, I'm essentially fighting for my life. I'm essentially very, very weak. I know the situation. I don't forget the situation. But I have to live, and I have to try to meet bills, purchase food, adhere to rules. And that is where I'm losing my mind. Society. Society kills us in the final instance. In my personal situation, I've realised its responsibility, my suffering, to the state, at the present moment, that of terror, a long time ago. For me, it's been the murderer all the way along. And in the state of terror, you do not have a mental health disorder. You do not have physical pain. There is no emotion other than that of the truth, which is terror. What I am witnessing is where my body has gained an illness. It's probably since childhood, like most of us around the age of 7, when we begin work on a spiritual level. Consciousness comes in to teach. Because we're not perfect enough. A spirit to understand the insanity that is this world. Planet hell. Therefore, when spirit enters the divine perfection that is the human body, it's born immortal. It needs education. Perfection plus perfection needs education to handle the reality of this world. We are then in denial our whole lives until we can maybe admit to myself one day, I'm in terror and I have taken what healing, health, spirituality, family and love in my life. And yet only at the age of 36, with the reality of terror really being able to be present on the outside as well as the inside, am I able to admit to myself that what I am seeing, the way I am living, my past, the present moment is terror. In that place where we are weak physically first, there's illness, or the potential for illness. The truth is, if we are strong within terror, that illness doesn't have a chance to birth. There might be the perfect environment for cancer, AIDS, and everything else, but with this, if we are strong within the place of terror, that disappears. It doesn't exist. It's just a matter of time if you're able to live within terror before that cancer disappears, before you have a miraculous healing from AIDS. Meditation and the practice of a monastic life is one of the closest things we can do to be on the other side of the truth of terror. Therefore, you can see the potential it might have in way of healing. But the truth is, it's not where it's at. The whole point is to live and be alive, not to propagate the terror for others, dress it up. We're at work since the age of about 7. The next child you see in the street, realize that, or question how is it possible for them to be at work, and then look at the world they are in for that to be the situation. When we lose the battle to terror, and or when we are in denial to terror, even when we are living a monastic life, there is potential for disease to manifest. In that place where I am weak, I'm not able to be honest with myself in the present moment to the state I am in because of the conditioning I have been through over the past 13 or so years of my mental health disorder. Relentless battles and immense amounts of energy expended. I don't think I can ever portray that clearly enough for another being to truly understand the amount of energy I have relentlessly given to life, one way or another, in the past 13 years. How that must have created pathways in the brain, the nervous system, so strong. Constantly applying healing. 13 or 14 years later, I realised what the truth is, and that is that I'm in terror. I realised the truth of what terror means. The realisation that we are in terror is an instant The realization that I am in terror is an instant weakness. What applies before terror does not apply thereafter. Where I was in denial, what I thought was healing for me before from what I could see, is not healing after. I need new means to heal myself, and I have to learn quick. And unfortunately, what I am saying is that I'm losing my mind. So I don't really have much space to sit down and think, what am I going to do? In that place where the battle is lost as soon as you realize you're in terror, that's how quick it happened for me. I witnessed the past habitual patterns of the past 13 years, the energy I've given, take over. And at the moment I am witnessing myself behaving how I behaved a few weeks ago only, before I realized I was in terror. In other words, my life had become such a repetition to the suffering, such a monotony. It was predestined what I would do in near enough every situation. In other words, when I suffered one way, I would scream a certain way. When I suffered another way, I'd scream a certain way. That was dependent upon the energy I had, where I was, and how good or bad a mood I would be allowed to be in at the time. In other words, the physical pain was hidden from me. I knew I was in physical pain, dependent upon a few set characteristics of how I was allowed to experience life, would create an all but predestined response. I am now witnessing those predestined responses happening, even though I am aware I am in terror. I can't relax into terror. Terror requires energy, requires alertness. You can't sleep in terror. You can't truly rest. You can sit down, you can have a break, from my experience, from my journey. But there's no rest. And I've been sleeping. I've been dying. That's what's been happening. With each sleep, I watch myself die that little bit more. Watch myself lose my mind that little bit more. And in that space, which is the same place as I said before, the terror, countless of videos I made assumptions and statements about how it was the collective psychosis, it was the secret services, it was this person, that person, and the other person. And the truth is, that's what it was. Within disease, for instance, cancer, does not see itself as part of the same body. If forgotten, is part of the same body. That's why it's cancer. And for all intensive purposes, what I'm experiencing now is terror as a result of physical pain, primarily. And in that space of physical pain, What I believe is happening is the collective psychosis, the secret services, spirit, and whoever else is able to come in and let's just say hello. In other words, if I'm experiencing pain one way, through the nature that is mental health, and when you surpass the pain threshold barrier, in other words, when the pain gets so severe you can't feel the pain anymore, you lose the battle instead of being honest with the pain from terror. The mind can create stories about what's going on with the pain. So it's very easy to think that if you're weak to that extent, someone who's got it in for you on any level and or would like to teach you or whatever else on any level, they can apply their mind to come into your sick body and say, what's going on is not a disease, it's not pain. What's going on is energy. What's going on is this story about how we interact with each other in society. And what's going on is you have to live like this. And what's going on is a million other ways of what's going on other than the truth, which is you're losing the battle to pain. And that's what I'm experiencing today. And for all intents and purposes, it's likely that secret services, it's likely the collective psychosis, it's likely spirit are all trying to come in and say, hello. But the absolute truth of the matter is, I'm in physical pain. I'm fighting for my mind and life. I'm not going to give an ounce of energy to creating and enhancing those realities when they're a lie. And if I'm in that much pain and I need to get myself healthy, the best thing I can do is be honest with myself and say, this is the situation. I'm in pain. I may or may not have someone trying to come in and say, do you want me to tell you a story, put you to sleep? And I'm kindly saying no. I'm in physical pain, I'm in terror. And that's where I'm looking at, nowhere else. It's a sick world. A lady passed me in the street yesterday, and I haven't seen that look in many people, especially for a long time. I recognised that look. It was a look of sheer disgust, borderline insanity to life, keeping it in check and control and prostituting your soul and spirit to seeing through another day. I didn't hear it word for word what she said, but basically she made comment about her hair. She was clean shaven, poorly clean shaven. What was clear within what she said is that she just sold her hair for money, for whatever reason, that she needed money. The worst thing about the situation is when the emotions are forced on me. because every emotion that I experience is a lie, good or bad. Right now I'm being forced to see an emotion telling me, oh, I need a second to think about this. It's that clear, the lie. When I've experienced terror and I'm aware I'm in terror, there's no thoughts. It sounds like utter silence. There's no chance of me speaking to myself because of my mental health disorder like I do most days. There's no physical pain. There's utter control. Thereafter, if we're talking about the physical pain, getting you to that place, and if you're in terror from any other area of your life, chances are the stress alone would put you in a place of physical pain. But in terror, you don't feel it. If you start to feel it again, when I started to feel it again, it was clear to me I'm losing my mind and likely dying, because how am I going to ever get back if in this place of honesty and strength, which is terror, and I'm weakening and the symptoms are coming back, it looks like a very steep downward slope to death. But I made a live stream this morning about saying how the body is immortal and it's the mind that gives out. So, who knows? It may be a case of an alien abduction on some level. I'm trying to be made a walking. I can't hypothesize any more than death and me being a walk-in for an alien. Either way, I don't really care. I'm in terror and I'm losing my mind. That's the reality of my life. The mental health system and the NHS are great, huge factors in that terror. I haven't got a chance of healing. What is it that the collective psychosis do on Saturday? How is it that you educate the children? I don't care. I'm in terror. Not because I can feel or think about what you're doing, but because I can see what you're doing from where I'm at. And it's disgusting. That keeps me in terror. The way the collective psychosis behave on Saturdays, thinking they're educating the children. You're giving a child an education course, perfect spirit, in a perfect body, how to live and work in hell. The collective psychosis. What happens if they were taught something else?